Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai. He Shri Guru Dinabandhu Ganada Swananda Datta Karanayaka Sindhu Vrindavana Sinavatara Prasida Shilada Pranaya Prachara Ajanu Lambito Bujo Kanaka Varadato Sankirtanai Kapitaro Kamalaya Taksho Vishwambaro Dvijoyo Yugadama Palo Vande Jagat Priyo Karo Karuna Avataro Anandalila Maya Vigrahaya Hemam Devatshabi Shandaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rashapadaya Shri Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Kasturi Tilakam Latapatale Vaksana Kostavam Sagari Varnokikam Karatare Venukara Kankanam Sava Angahari Chandanam Sulalitam Kanta Muktavali Brajastriyo Pariveshito Vijayate Gopala Chudamani He Shri Shama Shundara Shikara Shekara Smira Hashamani Manohara Harikatha Sika Mama Kripanidhi Supriya Charana King Karin Kuru Tavai Vasmi Na Jivami Tvaya Vina Ativigyaya Radhe Tom Naimam Charanati Yat Kinkareshu Bahusa Kaluka Kavani Nitya Parasha Purusha Shashakandamuni Tashakada Rasadide Visavanujas Tatyali Kunja Bhavanangana Marajani Shama Majhami Radha Radhavinda Netram Smarami Radha Madhura Smitasham Vadami Radha Karuna Varajam Tato Manashti Gati Nakapi Bhakata Vahina Yaparada Lakshai Kshiptascha Kamadi Tarangamaji Kripa Mai Twang Sharanang Prapana Vrinde Namaste Charanara Vindam Kanaka Jalaragatro Nila Subhagya Netro Nirgumara Bharavaro Malati Kundamaro Tarana Tarana Vesho Nilam Pitambaresho Smarane Nibritane Kunje Shirarika Krishna Chandro Ramadana Madana Lila Kandare Kandarete Rachayati Navayo Dvandvan Lashmina Mandan Iti Kila Kalanatam Lagnata Shapna Dhaviyor Me Nijanikat Nivasanam Dehi Govardhanatvam. So Dhanavad Pranam devotees, all glories to Shri Giriraj Govardhana Ki Jai, Anukut Maha Mahotsav Ki Jai. So I've tried to be on time to describe within 1 hour's time something small of the Mahima of Shri Giriraj Govardhan. Of course, in 1 hour it's not possible, but also I don't have great capacity, so perhaps, everything works out as it should be. So, understanding first Giriraj Tattva. So, who is Giriraj Govardhan? So, Giriraj Govardhan, it's explained in the Padma Puran, Prakriti Manasa Jatu Giriraja Govardhanaha. That Giriraj has manifested from Prakriti. Prakriti here means Bhagavan Shakti or Srimati Radhika. So, from the heart or mind of Srimati Radhika, this Giriraj Govardhan has manifested. In the Garga Samhita, actually one Leela is told that actually in the Rasa Mandal, once Radhika inquired from Shri Krishna, listen, you're always telling me how much you love me. You're always telling me how your love for me has no bounds. You're always telling how your love is so powerful and overwhelming. So all of these things in confidence you're telling me. But I would like to see a manifestation. Can you show something that would demonstrate where I could see it, where I could demonstrate that overwhelming love? Is there a symbol? Just like in the mundane world, sometimes we use a ring as a symbol when we get married to show I love you. But of course, Radha and Krishna, there is no marriage. Not technically. We're not talking about the Brahma's Leela, etc. We're talking about technically, because it is Parakya Bhav, there is no marriage. So there is no putting of this sringhar or any kumkum. There's no, unless it's done secretly, right? There are no other symbols of the love. So Radhika was asking, show me something that shows how much your love is, just like you're always telling me. So at that time, Krishna closed his eyes, and from within Krishna's heart came out a small, from his eyes came a small teardrop. That teardrop solidified, and that that solidified teardrop began to grow. And right before the eyes of Shri Radha Krishna Yugal, that solidified teardrop began to grow bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And Srimati Radhika was astounded. She thought, oh, this is such an amazing thing. And she continued to watch as it grew bigger and bigger. But that elation and charm of seeing this growing solidified teardrop changed from happiness to anxiety, because now this thing began to grow more and more and more. It was getting bigger and bigger. Suddenly, it began to manifest peaks. And on each peak, at the top of that peak, there was solid gold. But this gold was not gold like in the mundane material world there's gold. But this gold was the Varnavastu. It means the substantive color, the spiritual reality, the color of pure prem. And whose prem? The Maranakya Mahabhava Srimati Radhika. Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari. Radhika's bodily color is gold because it is a direct manifestation of her Mahabhav. Right? So this mountain began to grow peaks, and on all the peaks it was full of gold. And it began to grow to a point where it was uncontrollable. So both Radha and Krishna began to panic, because one of the features of their love is called Prachana Mukata. Prachana Mukata means that their love should be kept deeply hidden. But now this Giriraj, or in Golok it is called Satasringha. Satasringha means a mountain with, Sata means 100 golden peaks. It began to grow uncontrollably. So Shri Krishna jumped, and when he jumped, he gave a small smack to Giriraj. So this brought Giriraj from his absorption, because Giriraj is the personification of the prem of Shri Radha Krishna Yugal. You understand? It is the prem of Radha Krishna Yugal in a form. And that prem has the ability to have so many different nuances and transitions and different forms, everything else. Kami Rupa Vana Oksa Jaha. Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita that if someone did not worship Govardhan, this hill could take so many different forms in order to attack them, right? But the point is, Kami Rupa, that Govardhan can take so many different forms and shape for the service also of Shri Radha and Krishna, because it is their prem personified. Srimati Radhika also told at Jagannath Puri, right? No, excuse me, not Jagannath Puri, at Kurukshetra. She told, Ritoya Moramana Brindavana, Mani Vani Eka Karijani. He told to Krishna that you should know that for most people, the heart and the mind are two different things. But for me, that's not the case. My heart and mind are one thing. And what is that? Mani Vani Eka Karijani. It is the forest of Vrindavan, inclusive of Jamuna, Giriraj, Govardhan, etc. You understand? So, Prakriti Manasa Jatu, Giriraj Govardhanaha is a true statement based on this reality also, that Radhika is saying that Giriraj, like all of Vrindavan, is a manifestation of my heart. Also, Gaga Samhita mentions that when Radhika was asking Krishna to manifest, she also was desiring to have a place where their leelas could happen. A place that would be really beautiful with so many mountains, caves, so many secret entranceways, so much lush grass, so many nice bushes and gardens. So Radhika desired all these things, and her prem icha, her prem love, her prem desire, it manifested as this Giriraj, Govardhan, or Satasring and Golok. When Krishna, it was time for him to perform his Boma Lila, Krishna told to Radhika as well as all of the Brijabasis, you should go down to Bhumi Devi and you should begin to prepare for our Prakat Boma Lila there. So Radhika told to Krishna, Gurudev always tells, listen, I cannot leave here because I cannot go somewhere where there's no Jamuna, no Giriraj Govardhan, no 12 forests of Vrindavan. I cannot go to such a place. So Krishna assured her, he showed her a darshan that this Bhulok Braj, this Boma Braj, it was exactly that Nityadham Braj had descended. And that Nityadham Braj that had descended here was non-different from that Braj. Only some nuances for Leela. Then Radhika said, oh, very happily, she descended. So Shri Govardhan, Shri Giriraj also descended. But how did Giriraj descend? So different pastimes are told. It's described that many, many years ago in ancient times, all of the mountains, they were very prestigious. Because anywhere that there are mountains, you go up on the mountain and there'll be so many different levels and so much beauty and so many things. So all the Rishi sadhus, they loved the idea that these mountains were there. Like Himachal, Dronachal, Meru, so many different mountains were there, right? That the rishis and sadhus could do their meditations and do their southern bhajan life. In some places, like we'll read later, that Pulatsi Muni, the reason he takes Giriraj to Braj is because, or he wanted to take the Kasi was because in that place there was not any high mountain ranges, right? So the sadhus and rishis used to love to have mountains, but there was only one problem. At that time, the mountains were also movable, means chala. Chala means that they could move. And how would they move? They had wings. So the mountains occasionally would get up from one place and they would fly and they would land in another place. The difficulty was that when these mountains would land, they would make such a crashing landing that it would disturb the entire environment. So then they started to complain to Indra. Though we love the beauty of these mountains, the very nature of their flying and being able to land with such force is causing a great disturbance. So Indra's solution to that was that he came and he told all the mountains, listen, because of your activities, we no longer want you to be able to move from place to place, but to be situated in one place, to become achala. Achala means to be immovable. So in order to facilitate that, Indra took his Radra, his thunderbolt, and he cut off all the wings of all of the different mountains. So the mountains were very sad because of this. So the mountains also used to pray on a regular basis. Oh, one day our king will descend, one day our king will descend, right? So Dronachal at the same time, he was also praying to have a son. So when Satasringa descended to this world, he became the son of that Dronachal, the mountain Dronachal. And when he was born, all of the different mountains, by their prayers, they sent their obeisances, and in personified forms, they went directly and offered prayers to Giriraja, right? So they gave this name, Giriraja Salakuru Girirajo, Gopika Burito Haridasavarya. The Gopi said, you are called Giriraj. Why? Because all the mountains recognized Giriraj as their king. So they all came in their personified forms and offered their obeisances and garlands and so much stav and stuti and different presents and everything to Giriraj, Shri Govardhan. So later on, there are two stories that are told. One is written there in Puran, and it's mentioned that during the time of Lord Ramachandra, one of Lord Ramachandra's appearances, at that time, they were building the bridge to Lanka. So to build the bridge to Lanka, they required so many stones. So according to capacity, people would bring stones. If you were very small, like the spiders, they would pick up little pebbles and they would roll the pebbles along and push them into the ocean. But because the name of Ram was resonating throughout the whole Sangha of those who were building this bridge, even those pebbles, when they rolled into the water, they would float and add to the bridge. And then those who were capable, like the Vanaras, means the monkeys, and other, like Jambavan and other bear-type beings, right? They would also bring huge stones because of their capacity, and they would drop them. Then heroes like Hanuman, they could bring actual mountains, and they could also put into the ocean. So in this way, the bridge to Lanka was built by all of these. Now, each thing that they put into the water would come down to a level so that the bridge was level. So if you put a mountain in, the mountain would sink down so that it was level with the pebbles even of what was put in by the spiders and smaller insects. So finally, Hanuman, he came past the abode of Dronachal, and he saw the beauty of Giriraj. And he was about to pick up Giriraj and bring Giriraj to add to the bridge. But just at that time, throughout the Akash, throughout the sky, it resonated. The bridge is completed. The bridge is completed. There's no more need of any more stones or anything. So immediately Hanuman set Giriraj back down, right there in the abode of Dronachal, and took off. But he saw the disappointment, the great heartbreaking disappointment of Dronachal, of Giriraj, that he would not be able to go and render service. But there's something special about this. You have to know that there must be a reason. There must be a reason why Hanuman was unable to take Giriraj to the service of Lord Ram. One reason is because the actual Ishtadev of Giriraj as Haridasa Varya is Shri Radha Krishna Yugal. Also, he can serve the sucklers and cowherd boys and the calves and cows and all of these things. So the nature of the Swarup of Giriraj is a Brajalila. This is the nature of the Swarup of Giriraj is Brajalila. So to show this point, also Hanuman could not take and bring Giriraj into the seva of Sri Ram Lila, which still is imbued with some Aishwarya. Also, there's an upakyan here that even highly elevated devotees like Hanuman, Jambavan, Sugriv, all, right? They could not put their foot on Giriraj Govardhan because not only Ram is crossing that bridge to Lanka, so many are crossing that bridge, but that they will not put their foot on Giriraj was also one important element. So Krishna sent a message back that yes, Giriraj should know that in the future when I come myself, that I directly myself will lift Govardhan by my own hand. So Giriraj became very absorbed in meditating on that and became pacified. Later on, Pulatsya Rishi, he also came to the ashram of Jonachal, and seeing the beauty of Giriraj, he thought, in my ashram in Kashi, there's no such beautiful mountain like this. Because Giriraj, it wasn't just a matter of being a mountain and being tall and these things, but if you see the features of Giriraj, which will later be revealed by Shri Krishna himself, Giriraj, even looking from outside, was very beautiful, very lush, very beautiful caves, very fragrant flowers. So Pulatsya Rishi, he wanted that I could take Giriraj as a donation from Dronachal and take it back to my ashram, and I will have such a place to do my southern bhajan. So of course it is the etiquette that if any sadhu rishi comes to visit your place, you have to offer something. And what they will ask, you cannot refuse. Remember the story of Hadai Pandit and Nityananda, the story of Dasarat and Vishwamitra Muni. So this is the etiquette, this is dharma. So when Pulatsya Rishi asked Dronachal to take Giriraj, his son, then Dronachal was completely disappointed, but what could he do? But Giriraj made a caveat. Yes, I will go with you to your place. But wherever you stop along the way, if you put me down, at that place, I will not move anymore. I will accept the condition of the other mountains and become Achal. Right? Because at that time, remember, Indra had not cut the wings of Giriraj. This is going to be important because Sanatana Goswami gives a commentary on this in the Brihad Vaishnava Toshani. Right? So he had not cut the wings of Giriraj, but Giriraj had voluntarily accepted being Achal. So he says, wherever you take and put me down, I will also become Achal there. So Pulatsya Rishi held out his hand and Giriraj got on his hand. Now this is important because Sanatana Goswami, I will bring this up later, but remember this point. Because the question would be, Pulatsya Rishi certainly has all kinds of mystic power, right? But if Giriraj didn't want to go, could Pulatsya Rishi force Giriraj? Who was superior, Pulatsya Rishi or Giriraj? Right? So voluntarily, Giriraj got into the hand of Pulatsya Rishi and they traveled. Coming over Shri Brajadam, at that time, a irresistible feeling to answer the call of nature came over Pulatsya Rishi. Now yogi sadhus, they have all kinds of power, all kinds of mystic power. But you have no ability to control your bodily functions. They have so much power, but you could not control the bodily functions. Why was that? Because Yogamaya made inspiration in Pulatsarishi that you cannot take Giriraj beyond Braj. There is no way. Just like if you have a very, very strong magnet and you take a piece of metal and you move it across the field of that magnet, immediately when it passes the field of that magnet, it's going to be attracted. This is just the nature of the iron in the magnet. In the same way, it is the permanent place of Shri Giriraj is Shri Brajadam, either Nitya Gokuldam or here in the Boma Lila. So as soon as Giriraj passed that place, the automatic natural attraction took place. And therefore Yogamaya inspired in Pulatsarishi the need to answer the call of nature, and he could not check himself. Because he knew that Giriraj told, if I put him down, then he will not move. He will accept being Achal, as all the other mountains are. So now, Pulatsarishi, he could not resist. What could he do? So he took Giriraj and he put Giriraj down in the place that we know right now, where's Govardhan, and he went to answer the call of nature. When he came back, he tried. He gave effort anyway. Yes, come on, we'll continue. And Giriraj told, no. Our arrangement was, wherever you will put me down in that very place, I will become Achal. I will not move anymore. So Pulatsarishi became a little bit angry because sometimes rishis, sadhus, great kings, great demigods, they become a little bit overwhelmed by their power. This is a natural thing. And Krishna's one purpose of his advent here is to counter that in order to help these rishis, sadhus, and even demigods to become controlled and become free from their pride, from their absorption in their own power. This is the whole upakyan of Shri Govardhan Lila and Indradev, right? So he told to Pulatsarishi, no, I will not go. So Pulatsarishi, he said, okay, then I'm giving you a curse, right? But every day you will sink by the size of one mustard seed. So if you've ever seen a mustard seed, very small. So he said you will shrink by that much every single day. But Giriraj and Yogamaya, that was their arrangement. Because Shri Yogamaya and Saraswati Devi, they come on the tongues of those who are actually devotees, but who, like you'll see with with Indra later on, that Saraswati Devi will come on his tongue because he will insult Krishna, but those insults, just like with Sishupal, right? Divya Saraswati came also and turns his insults into actual praise. In this way, there is no aparad on the part of a devotee, because how you can be a devotee and commit aparad directly to Bhagavan, right? This is also explained. This is the real understanding of the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Tane Brahmaridali Kavaye Bhuyanti Yat Surayo. Surayo means two kinds of suras, Devatas and Bhusura. Just like Raghunath Das Goswami said, Guru Goshte Gosale Shu Sujane Bhur Surgane. So Bhusuras means the Brahmins, right? Because there's also, as we get along, hopefully I'll have time to show how Krishna is dealing with the husbands of the Yagyapatnis, right? The Brahmins there, right? Also, they became bewildered. So Krishna said, it's right there in Bhagavatam, that the Devatas like Brahma, Indra, Varuna, others, they will become Muyanti. And also Bhusura means the Brahmins, like the wives of Yagnapatnis, they also became bewildered. How do they become bewildered? Because the very nature of Krishna, Jiva Goswami is described in Lagu Toshini, right? Very nature of Krishna is Bhagavat Stavat Asradhanana Aishwarya Madhurya Tattva Visesh. The very nature of Bhagavan, Shri Krishna, is that he has Aishwarya and Madhurya in such a way, Tattva Visesh, that it manifests a speciality. Now, those who are absorbed in the Aishwarya of Bhagavan, they can't digest easily his Madhurya. You understand? So they become bewildered. This is what happens to Indra. He becomes bewildered because he cannot reconcile that Bhagavan, that Ishvara, that creator of all the worlds, has now appeared as a little blue boy with a flute with some friends and girlfriends and stuff in a little village. You understand? Even after hearing from Brahma, about how he had killed Aghasura, which piqued Brahma's interest. And then Brahma told him, I tried also to see what this was about, and I found out the hard way, right, during Brahma Vimohan Lila, but Indra still could not digest. But Srimad Bhagavatam makes this statement, Muyanti Yat Suryo. What is their bewilderment? It's actually the chamatkar. It is actually the bewilderment of astonishment of the wonder of how Krishna's Madhurya exceeds his Aishwarya. That's why in Damodarastakam we're singing Ittidrikshwari Labhir Ananda Kunde. You understand? That's why we're singing this third line. To show these devotees who are absorbed in Aishwarya Mai that Krishna's Madhurya is so much higher. You understand? So this is a very wonderful thing. So, Pulacha Rishi, though he gave this curse, actually Yogmaya said yes, because Giriraj Govardhan will be able to stay for the duration of Krishna's Leela, but when Krishna leaves to go to Mathura and to Dwarka, these are the Virohe Setras, means the places of separation, right? Where the inhabitants of Braj and others, they experience the taste of separation, because in Nitya Golok Dham, Krishna does not do Gamana Gamana. Gamana Gamana means coming and going, like going to Mathura and Dwarka, etc. That does not happen. The conception is there, but it doesn't literally happen. But here, the actual appearance of it takes place. And why is that? I don't want to detract so much because I want to try to get everything in. The reason is because there are 4 types of meeting and 4 types of separation. I'm not going through all of them. They're there in Ujjal Nilamani. I'm not going through all. But one kind of separation is called Sudur Pravas. Sudur Pravas means when the devotees and their Ishtadev are separated at a great distance for a long period of time and they've come under the control of others. These are the 3 criteria that are there that create Sudur Pravas. While Krishna's in Braj, this Sudur Pravas cannot take place. So only when Krishna goes to Mathura and then later to Dwarka does Sudur Pravas take place. And what is the happiness, or what is the meeting that comes after this type of separation? It's called Samriddhiman Shambhog. So then during the Surya Grahan or solar eclipse, when they meet at Kurukshetra, this is like Samriddhiman Shambhog. Because now having been separated for a long period of time at a great distance, and Krishna being under the control of Dwarkavasis, and the Brijavasis being unable to go even to Mathura, Gurudev said. What speak of Dwarka? When they meet there at Kurukshetra, now it is Samriddhiman Shambhog, a very enriched meeting. So, this is why Krishna performs special leelas here that are not even there in Nitya Golok Dham. So, Giriraj, knowing that these pastimes will come in the future, the saving grace is that he can take shelter of the pretense of the curse of Pulacha Rishi. So his manifestation of separation is that he shrinks by 1 mustard seed every day. You understand? This is his manifestation of separation when Krishna leaves Vrindavan. Now, also, it is mentioned that Indradev, every year, the Brijabasis used to perform one yajna for Indradev. Because Indradev is considered to be in charge of the rains, and the rains, of course, help to make the soil fertile for growing and so forth. And because the Brijabasis essentially are cow herders, and they also do other farming things, then this is indispensable in them for their livelihood. So every year they used to do a Indra Yajna. So this year that Indra Yajna was taking place, and just appropriately it happened right after Krishna had given mercy to the Brahmins that were the husbands of the Yagyapatnis. Right? Of course, we know the story. I'm not going into that story. But actually, Krishna and Balaram and the cowherd boys become very hungry. They send the cowherd boys to beg food. And these Yagnik Brahmins, they are absorbed in their worship. And again, Moyanti Yatsura. So these Bhusura, these Brahmins, they're unable to recognize the position of Krishna's associates. And even when Baladev and Krishna are present, they're unable to recognize them. right? So they won't give any food. But their wives immediately, right, because of the purity of their hearts, they recognized who was Krishna and Balaram, right? And taking the food from the yajna, they took and offered to them, right? Now later on, long story short, these Brahmins realized the glory of Sri Krishna Balaram and their associates, and they glorify their wives. They accept their wives. You read Srimad Bhagavatam, they say, oh, you are like our gurus. Though husband normally is guru for the wife, these wives of ours have become our guru. How? Because they've showed us by their unpretentious and by their being unattracted to just Vedic ritual, right? Even Krishna told Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, Traigunya Vishayo Veda, Nistragunya Bhava Arjuna. Arjuna, the Vedas mainly deal with the three modes of material nature. You should rise above this. So these Yajnapatnis, they recognize just by the nature of their transcendental attraction, the glory of Shri Krishna Balaram and their associates. So their husbands thought, these ladies have developed pure love of Bhagavan. Even we're doing so many rituals, we could not develop that. So here the upakyan is that the attraction or developing love for Krishna comes by service to his associates and then to Bhagavan. Right? Serving the devotees and then having the opportunity to serve Bhagavan. It doesn't come, this perfection, by Vedic ritual, by yajna, by knowledge of so many mantras, etc., right? What is this verse? Nayam atma pravachanena labhya namerasa nabahusritena. Right? One cannot obtain Bhagavan even if one has great erudition, and that erudition comes from their natural intelligence and their study, bahusrutena, if they studied all sastras. Still, where does bhakti come from? Bhakti sanjatya bhakti. It comes from bhakti itself. That bhakti resides in the heart of devotees. So how we will get bhakti? By association of devotees. So these Yajnapatnis, they showed that by their seva mood. So their husbands glorified them. So right at the time that these Yajnik Brahmins had began to understand and they finally surrendered to Krishna, just at that time, not far away, this is the commentary of the Acharyas. I've tried to reconcile certain things, so we'll have to do that, right? Because I'm not going to have time to explain everything here. So, right at that time, those Yajnik Brahmins, they got the mercy of being engaged in service. How? Because just nearby, Nanda Maharaj and the elders of the village had put up the flag. Because how do they know it's time for Edrin Yajna? They would put up one flag that was marking the name of Indra, right? And the time that it's time to do Indra Yajna. This is how all the Brijavasis come to know it's this time. They're all making different preparations. They engage those Brahmins, right, in the service of this Indra Yajna. So now these Yajnik Brahmins, they're having a chance to serve Brijavasis, right, by serving Nanda Maharaj and others, by being the Brahmins for the Yajna. So now Krishna comes along and he sees this and he asks to Nanda Maharaj, oh Baba, I had spoken to Maya earlier and asked, I saw she was cooking so many food preparations, everything. So I inquired from her as to what great festival are we putting on. Now both Sanatana Goswami Pad, Brihad Vaishnav Toshini, Srila Krishna Chakravarti Thakur Pad, and Sartha Darshini Tika, they all say that Krishna knew that this was Indra Yajna because he had seen already previously for 6 to 7 years them perform this yajna every year. But now he wanted to make a point, and I'll get to a reason why in a minute. But he wanted to make a point of showing the superiority of that Giriraj Govardhan, whom he told through Hanuman that he would glorify by lifting directly on his own hand. Remember that? So now he's going to go through the process to make that happen. So he addresses his mother, and his mother says, listen, I'm very busy right now. Your father and all the others are very busy also, and we cannot be disturbed. But you should go and ask your father anyway if you want to know. I cannot answer you right now. So Krishna leaves and he comes to Nanda Baba and the elderly cowherd men, and he begins to inquire, oh Baba, what is this big festival for? Whom are we worshipping and why? Is it something that's just a custom in our village, or does it have any basis in Shastra? Right? So now Krishna, another thing is happening is that Krishna's maturation is beginning to show. So Nanda Baba is enchanted somewhat. Because even though he's very busy and he doesn't feel he has time to explain, he's noticing this sweet, charming maturation of Krishna. That Krishna is not asking questions just randomly. Is this any family tradition? Is this something based in Sastra? You understand? So Nanda Maharaj feels some obligation to answer, but at the same time, he's arranging and doing so many things. So he tells cursory, yes, this is something that's been done in our tradition for many, many years. It is the worship of Indra, and the reason we worship Indra is because Indra is the Devata who's in charge of rain. Without rain, we cannot have sustenance here, because if there is no rain, then nothing will grow. Our cows won't have grass. We don't get any milk products, etc., etc. So then Krishna begins and systematically goes through, beginning with Karma Mimamsa, he goes to the Sat Darshan. Sat Darshan are the 6 Indian philosophies like Karma Mimamsa, Vaisheshika, Nyaya, etc. He goes through the whole 6 darshans in different explanations. Again, the class would be too long if we tried to go through every one. But in Karma Mimamsa, he tells, listen, Baba, every day we take out the calves of cows. You also taking out cows. You also do so much intense labor. And because you worship also our Shalagram Shila, the combination of your activities and your pious worship, this creates good karma. So karma really is the cause of whatever happens, right? Because Indra, if he's pouring rain, that rain falls not only on the land, but it also falls in Jamunaji. Jamunaji has no need for water, still it's raining in Jamunaji. You understand? So can we really say it's Indra, or is things happening because of our karma? Right? We know Jagnahat Kamano in Yatra, Lokayam Karma Bandhana. Right? Even in Bhagavad Gita, it's mentioned that yajna must be performed, because if we don't perform yajna, right, then one will be bound by his activities. So both Krishna and Nanda Maharaj have equal access to this argument that yes, we have to perform yajna, but Krishna's point will be yes, but yajna isn't to allow us to manifest the right kind of karma, right? Because by doing the yajna, we're also doing good karma. So the real thing, Krishna's point is here, the real thing is karma. Therefore, why don't we worship karma? So he gives this argument. So Nanda Baba says, yes, but actually, it's our karma to do this, but the worship has to be given towards someone. You can't just worship the activity. The worship has to be geared towards someone, right? So then Krishna says, okay, why not make that someone, after he gives the extent of his arguments, why not worship the Brahmins, right? And why not worship Giriraj Govardhan? Because our cows and Giriraj Govardhan and the Brahmins, they are the worshipable objectives that are in our experience. Not only that, but everything we directly get. The blessings from Brahmins, all of the byproducts from the cows, because we're a Vaishya community, and Giriraj Govardhan is the one who takes care of our cows. So everything that we get from our karma has come from Brahmins, cows, and Giriraj Govardhan. So why don't we do this worship for Govardhan? So Krishna's logic is impeccable, and Nanda Baba sees no way around it. Therefore he says, listen, that's a wonderful thing. But now, this year, we've already prepared everything for the Indra Yajna. We've actually put up the flag, which is the symbol that we're about to do the worship. Everything. So perhaps another time we can also worship Govardhan. So Krishna said, no, no, no. Just like we always hear, anything auspicious should be done immediately. Right? So you never delay, right, what is most auspicious for you in lieu of something that possibly is auspicious. You understand the argument? That there may be something doing the Indra Yajna, right? Right? It may be an auspicious thing. We're not saying yes or no. But Krishna is saying immediately Govardhan is here. Immediately the Brahmins are here. Immediately our cows are here. Immediately all the byproducts of the cows, which is being prepared by all the Brijavasi ladies. All these are immediate things, and our immediate auspiciousness is coming from there. Why don't we immediately, without delay, we should worship Govardhan? After hearing Krishna speak in such an intelligent way, and at the same time so charming that it captured the hearts of not only Nanda Baba, but the other elders, then they began to reconcile, yes, we should follow this, right? Because they will also think, listen, if this kind of intelligence is coming in this child, perhaps it is divinity speaking through a child, right? So they're thinking perhaps this is some amazing arrangement by the results of our piety, that actually the Absolute is speaking through this child. Because how could this child speak so much philosophy? Is 7 years old, end of 7 years old. How can he speak so much philosophy so coherently with so much conviction, right? So we should do this now. So the conclusion is made, and those very yogic Brahmins who would not feed Krishna before are now feverishly engaged in the worship of Sri Giriraj Govardhan. Right? So now everything is set for the Govardhan Puja. All of the preparations that have been made, everything is there. A huge festival is put on. And everyone brings all kinds of preparations and everything, and they worship Giriraj Govardhan. Immediately, when everything is prepared, a huge form manifests on the top of Giriraj Govardhan. So Krishna, immediately upon seeing this form, he tells all the Brijabasis and everyone present, look, look, look. Look at this amazing roop of Giriraj. So all of the Brijabasis, they look and they see the amazing form atop Giriraj. And Krishna leads the way. He offers his Dandavat Pranam, all offer their pranams. And so, in this way, they all worship the form of Giriraj. And then Krishna stands up and he says an amazing thing. He says, how many times you have done the worship of Indra? Has Indra ever come and directly appeared before you to take a meal? Look at this. Giriraj, even on the very first time you rendered service to Giriraj, Giriraj showed his own roop in order to directly come and accept your offerings. Not only that, when you offered to Giriraj, because they made so many preparations, everything, they offered everything to Giriraj, and Giriraj spoke to all of them, Anyar, Anyar, bring more, bring more. And then Krishna had to say, after they exhausted everything, listen, we're only humble village people, everything. Oh, you should be very satisfied. So he took some water from Manasi Ganga, some say from Jamuna, and then triptos me, after belching. I'm very satisfied. You understand? So Krishna was saying, listen, Giriraj directly came in person, and he took his prasad in front of us. Right? Even if any great sadhu will come to visit your house, sometimes, you know, it used to be in the older days, right? You render service, making the plate. You don't sit and eat with that sadhu. Of course, in our Vaishnav culture, right? Dadati pratagrinati guyamakiti prichiti bhokte bojayate chaiva. Right? As one exchange of priti, sometimes our devotees will sit there and take prasad together. I'll never forget, a very beautiful experience I had on Parikrama, that we were coming from, maybe Uddhav Kund, I cannot remember. But anyway, at this place, we all sat down on the street, right? So there's still cars going by and so forth. And we're not in the road, but we're just to the side of the road. And the sevaks are serving out prasad to everyone. So myself and other devotee friends, we were all sitting in a line together, and we were laughing in very ecstatic mood, being there, talking about the wonder of Braj, talking about the wonder of all this kind of great Sangha. So one very good devotee friend of mine, Shriman Stai Bhava Prabhu, who's left this world now, he was sitting like next to me, or maybe one person down, and every time we would make any joke or anything, he would rock back and laugh a little bit. And each time he would rock back and laugh, he would bump into the person sitting behind him. So Stai Baba wouldn't look all the way back, but he would just start to, excuse me. So this happened several times, right? So then Stai Baba, he said, listen, I have to really apologize. So he turned completely around to apologize to this person, and that person sitting on the ground behind him was Srila Gurudev, sitting with all the devotees taking prasadam. So this kind of extreme mercy you normally would not see in Vedic culture previously, because if any great sadhu came to your house, you would serve them. In fact, I remember directly a parallel story. I remember there was one sannyasi, not mentioning any name here. He came when I was preaching in Africa. I was in Zambia. He came during that preaching time, and anytime we made prasadam for him, right? He would only take prasadam alone in his quarters, right? He would not come out with the devotees and so forth. So I'm not ascribing any fault here, so please don't think like that. I'm just saying this was a move. And he used to say this was the etiquette of rishis and sadhus. They would always take their prasadam in silence and absorbed, right? They would not speak or be around anyone, right? But here our Gurudev, right? Paramahamsa Vaishnava, right? He was sitting on the ground with all of the Vaishnavas and taking prasadam. So Krishna was saying, listen, Giriraj has come right amongst us and he's accepting our offering. Has Indra ever done like this? In the meantime, of course, the word gets back to Indra that the flag for your yajna was raised, but nothing. No bhoga offering, no stav and stuti, no done. Nothing has been done on behalf. The flag was raised, but we have not seen anything. So Jiva Goswami Gopal says, go and find out what's going on. So he sent his messengers down, Indra, and the messengers looked and they saw the Brijabasis in full-blown party mode. Dancing, singing, fully having a festival. But there was nothing going on for Indra. So the Indra Sevaks, they thought, oh, wait a minute, this is not good. This is not good. So then they went back and they reported to Indraji, heads bowed down. Hey, Prabhu. Indra, have you gone to Braj? Have you seen what's going on? Prabhu, we have. Well, tell me. Listen, there is a yajna. There is a festival. Well, but that festival is for the mountain Giriraj. And Sri Krishna has convinced all the Brijabasis that they should worship Giriraj, the Brahmins, and the cows. Then they put their heads down. Indra said, what? So then Indra, of course, in Srimad Bhagavatam mentions, oh, Vachalam Balisham, this child, this talkative child, has convinced these villagers to give up the path of Dharma, doing their worship, in order to worship Giriraj. To worship, he didn't call Giriraj, he called to worship this hill. What kind of ignorance and stupidity is this on both of their parts? So as I mentioned earlier, Divya Saraswati, she adjusted the meaning of these words. Vachalam here means who can speak in such a way as to charm everyone and whose speech is the basis of all sastra. Balisham means who has no pretension. Because he's actually Bhagavan, he is very innocent. So his speaking is absolute truth because it's not based on any false premise or false pride or false ego. Therefore, Balisham, Vachalam Balisham, this statement actually glorifies Krishna. It doesn't insult Krishna as Indra thought he was doing at that time. So then he says, listen, I don't believe this is happening. So then Indra himself came on Airavata and he looked and he saw what was going on. When he looked and saw what was going on, he became extremely angry. And the Samvantaka clouds were released. Now, the important thing is that Bhagavatam mentions that the Samvantaka clouds are the same clouds that come during the dissolution. That means the partial dissolution or the end of the world is when these clouds are released. Other than that, they're situated in such a way that they're locked up like by a timer. So they can only be released at the right time. But Indra broke the time lock and allowed them to come. He was so angry, he allowed the Samvantaka clouds, which are meant for destruction, to be released untimely. And when they came over Braj, they mixed with the natural elements like rain, lightning, other things, but now they're all super enhanced, just as they would be at the end of the creation. So now the Brijabasi suddenly looked up and this great storm was there. And it describes that the storm was so intense that the rain was like weapons. When it would strike you, it would cause great pain. All of a sudden, it became completely cold and the Brijabasis were shivering. Also, the lightning was so vast and so furious that it was completely frightening. And when it would thunder, it was deafening. Right? Like we hear thunder sometimes, a thundercloud go off and it jolts you. So at that time, it was continuous and it was almost deafening. So the Brijabasis, in their hearts, because Srila Sanatana Goswami Pad and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentioned that, listen, the Brijabasis, they called out to Krishna for help. But this is a very significant thing. How could it be that the Brijabasis first thought of themselves and not thought of Krishna? How they thought of themselves first and not thought of Krishna. But Sanatana Goswami Pad reconciles this. He says they did not call to Krishna, oh, save us, save us. In their hearts, they thought, how will we protect Krishna? And in order to protect Krishna, we have to be here. You understand? So their desire for saving their lives was so that they would be there to protect Krishna. And how did they do that? They took shelter of calling Krishna's name. Sanatana Goswami said they began to recite the name of Krishna while coming very close to him. So then Krishna understood from their hearts, because bhakti is a heart-to-heart transmission with Bhagavan. Krishna understood from their heart their desire. So Krishna said, I must do something. So he was expressing also his love. These are my near and dear. Jayati Jananivasa Devaki Janmavado. It may be a vad, it may be a theory that Vasudeva, Devaki, others, when he goes to Dwarka, they are his near and dear, they are his charge to protect. But Jayati Jananivas. Jananivas means those who are actually my near and dear. Those who are actually my own. You understand? So Krishna's own means Brijabasis. So Krishna thought, I have to protect them. Right? I cannot allow them to come under this ignorance and insolence of Indradev. So Krishna went, and running out from the shelter where the Brijabasis were, he put out his left hand and immediately picked up Giriraj Govardhan. Now here also is some nuance, because it's mentioned. Apluta kim giri. I can't think the last line of this verse. But apluta means two things. It means with ease and something that springs forward. Right? Something that springs forward or jumps I'm trying to find different words. But something that, the Sanskrit means something that springs forward or jumps, like something that jumps into your hand. Apluta kim giri, right? With ease, Giriraj jumped into the hand. Now Sanatana Goswami gives the understanding how, because he translates in the word apluta, wings. He said Giriraj, by his wings, he jumped on the left hand of Krishna, and Krishna lifted up Giriraj Govardhan. Now why is this important? We'll get to this. So now Krishna has lifted up Govardhan, and when he lifts up Govardhan, Jiva Goswami Pad gives a description of what the Brijabasis saw. He lifted up Govardhan, and they all thought, whoa, right? A huge area became available, and Krishna called out, come, don't fear. This will not fall from my hands, I'm promising you. Right? So all the Brijabasis came and they took shelter of that space that was created where Krishna had picked up Govardhan. But when they came inside, they didn't see dirt, worms, roots, mud. What did they see? Beautiful crystal staircases. They saw many small rooms. All these rooms were decorated with jewels. They saw many natural forests and waterfalls. They saw staircases. They saw great lakes in the bottom of it, which were filled with lotus flowers. They saw gardens in different places. So what did Krishna do when he lifted Govardhan? Krishna revealed to Brijabasis the Swarup of Govardhan. What is that Swarup? Pramadam Hadanalila Kandare Kandarete. That in the caves and all the different facilities of Govardhan, Pramada means these are the places which manifested from Radhika's heart to give Krishna so much pleasure. But now Krishna revealed it to all the Brijabasis. Here is the Swarup of Giriraj Govardhan. This is not a hill with mud, roots, trees underneath. All of the sweet nature of Giriraj Seva, which is the personified prema, as I mentioned earlier, of Sri Radhakrishna Yugal, it was all revealed. You understand? So revealing the Swarup of Giriraj, all became charmed and amazed. And they completely were simultaneously staring at Krishna and simultaneously in amazement of the atmosphere. At that time, Giriraj spread his wings and on top of Giriraj, to dry up all of the rain that was coming down, Krishna's own chakra went to the top and dispersed all of the rain that was going on. Indra, seeing this, became amazed. What is this? This small boy has just lifted this hill, and though I've cut the wings off of every single mountain, this mountain, being on the hand of this small boy, is with great pride. Great pride. All spreading its wings as though to show me, how you like me now. So it's mentioned, Vaikunthas Janito, Varumarupuri, Tatrapi Rasutsavat, Brindavaranya, Udarapani Ramanath, Tatrapi Govardhanaha. Govardhan is superior even to the opulence and power of Vaikuntha. How? Udarapani Ramanath. Because the bliss of being held up by the hand of Krishna allowed Giriraj's Swarup to be revealed. And the natural bliss of Giriraj is being Harirasavarya. All the Rup of Prem Seva to Sri Radha Krishna, to all of Krishna's cowherd boys, to all the Brijabasis and the cows. That whole Swarup was manifest, right? So the pride of Giriraj allowed its wings to come out. What happened at that time? All of the other mountains like Meru, Himachal, Dronachal, then within their hearts, seeing this Leela, they became completely ecstatic, realizing that their Giriraj, the king of all the mountains, has shown that Indra who took our wings, has shown that Indra who's boss. So in this way, Indra was completely shocked that none of the things, even the clouds of material devastation, had no effect on Giriraj nor the Brijabasis. So there's also an important upakyan here. The time of devastation in the material world is obviously one of the most devastating things. So what should we as Vaishnavas think? We should think, listen, if the Brijabasis could survive what was equivalent to the destruction of the end of the world, why can't we, through taking shelter of Bhakti and Shri Giriraj Govardhan in our Stav and Stuti, our sudden bhajan life, why cannot we become free from the anxiety of the simple mundane things, Ariatmik, Aribautik, or Aridaivik, that are going on right now in the creation? Why should we care what's going on in the material world? One way or another, they can never take away what Sri Gurudev has put into your patra. What Gurudev has given you. That can't be taken away. Even a little bhakti can never be taken away. What to speak of what Gurudev has given us in the form of understanding Radha Dasyam, etc., etc. So we don't care for the Samantaka clouds of the material world, karma, the onslaught of Kali Yuga, who's winning what election, what's going on. We don't care. Because we can take shelter of Shri Giriraj in our bhajan life. So this wonderful Leela, when Indra saw, he became completely amazed. Muyanti at Suryo. Because now, that reconciliation of Aishwarya, Madhurya, Tattva Visesh, how Sri Bhagavan, his complete Aishwarya Mai and his Madhurya Mai, they have this juncture where they don't come together, but Indra was seeing them at the same time. Because he saw, wait a minute, this small boy, so beautiful, so delicate, he's holding this hill with no problem. And all these Brijabasis are taking shelter of it. My most intense Samvantaka clouds, everything, they can't do anything to disturb this. He was completely amazed. What were Brijabasis thinking? Brijabasis were singing Brajbas songs, right? Looking at Krishna. Krishna also said, I have my own reasons for doing this. What reasons? During the Kaliya Dhamana Leela, when Jiva Goswami Pad says, all of the Brijabasis came, I'm not telling the whole story because we were running late on time, but when all Brijabasis came, and they saw Krishna in the coils of Kaliya, then the elderly Brijabasis fainted. But when the young gopis came and they saw Krishna in the coils of Kaliya, though that situation was so traumatic, somehow or another, their eyes would not close and their consciousness would not leave. They were completely enchanted. They were completely absorbed in staring at the form of Krishna. Jiva Goswami says, this is the first time that they saw Krishna. How could it be the first time? They grew up together in Braj. How could it be the first time they saw Krishna? So Jiva Goswami Pad says, because this is now when the gopis are coming into their maturation, and this is the first transitions into Purva Rag. So now they're becoming somewhat mature. Krishna's becoming somewhat mature. So now they're not seeing that young naughty boy who was the son of Nanda and Yashoda, but now they began, through the vision of their own maturation, began to see the charming Rupa Shri Krishna as Manmat Manmat. Means like Cupid. Krishna also noticing the same thing. When he broke free from the coils of Kaliya, he began to dance on the heads of Kaliya in such a charming way. From the Krishna's dancing on the heads of Kaliya, at that very time, the impression, the samskar of Krishna as a Rosik Natavar came into the hearts of those young girls, and from that very moment, they cherished the desire. One day I also want to dance with this boy. After the chastisement of Kaliya, Krishna said, now this place has become very beautiful, very serene. It's been completely purified. Why don't we all stay here for the night and have a gathering of all of our village members and celebrate? So Nanda, Baba, and other elders agreed. They all made a wonderful camp. They had a wonderful campfire. So many wonderful things were going on. But at that time, two spies of Kamsa who had come to see what would happen with Kaliya noticed that Kaliya had been chastised and defeated. So they thought, we can get brownie points with Kamsa, right? We will get rewarded by Kamsa if we carry out Kamsa's desire. So they set that place afire. And of course, that night, rather than the Brijabasis coming together and being able to enjoy unimpeded, then Krishna had to put out the forest fire, etc., etc. But Krishna took a mental note. You know, any time that there's a national emergency here in Braj, right? Their personal form of the California fires or hurricanes like Katrina when Trina Martha came, right? That all the Brijabasis don't mind if we gather together in close proximity. So having that understanding, Krishna, through the subtlety of his own icha, his own desire, wanted to make another arrangement by which the Brijabasis could come together unimpeded, in close proximity, right? With no overhang or no oversight of the elders worrying about the mingling of the young boys and young girls. So what was that opportunity? For 7 days under Giriraj Govardhan, everybody was in close proximity in this wonderful, charming atmosphere of Govardhan Swarup. And they were all enjoying glances, the gopis and Krishna back and forth together, and so forth. Joking was going on. One time it came up, who's lifting this hill for real? Because one time Krishna, when he was staring at Srimati Radhika, he became a little disturbed, and the hill shook a little bit. Immediately all the cowherd men and cowherd boys put their sticks up, right? So a question came up, how is this hill actually being held up? What was this? Kacho makana bho abhala kisai. I think it's kacho makana bhala. Kacho ko kisai. Kishori ji ki kripa se girivarali utai. So they were asking, how is this hill being held up? So the elder Brijabasi lady said, oh, it's easy. I can answer that question. Kacho makana bhala baro. How is it being held up? Krishna, all these years, he used to steal butter in our homes. From eating our butter and yogurt, he became so strong that now the fruits of his strength are being manifest from eating our butter. So then the cowherd boys, they began laughing. No, that's not the reason. Kachoko kisai. No, because we've taken our sticks, we're all assisting him. So it's not his strength alone, it's all of us holding up this hill. So then Lalita and Vishaka, they began to laugh. No. So Madhu Mangala asked, well, what's so funny about that? You think we're not strong? You think we can't hold this hill? You think that we're joking here? So Lalita, because she's somewhat haughty, she told, all of these answers are wrong. How is this hill being held up? Kishori ji ki kripa se girivarali utai. Because my Shrimati Radhika, my Sokhi, glancing from her eyes, she's looked at Govardhan and told, listen, if you harm even one hair on Krishna's head by falling down, oh, by the power of my glance, I will burn you to ashes. So they were having these kind of wonderful discussions under Giriraj. So when Indra figured out everything going on and he desisted from his activities, Krishna told all the Brijabasis, now it is safe to come out from under Giriraj. He placed Giriraj down again. They all again praised Giriraj and praised Shri Krishna. The elder Brijabasi men, however, they questioned Nanda Maharaj. Listen, something's not right here. Listen, let's go back. When this boy was 3 days old, he killed a witch that was 12 miles long. Simply a little bit older. With his tender legs, he kicked the cart, Sakatasura, and his whole cart fell down. He killed Bakasura. He swallowed an entire forest fire. Right? So all the different pastimes of Krishna, they began to recount and they began saying, listen, something is not ordinary about this. So Nanda Maharaj told, yes, Gargarishi told. Why are you upset? Why are you any bewildered? Gargarishi told. Huh? Tasman Nandastu Atmajo Narayana Guna Samai. He told that the naming ceremony, my son, he would have qualities just like Narayan. And Anena Sava Durgani. At our time of need, he would easily be able to help us. This is the blessing that my son has. So don't think anything unusual or extraordinary. I remember asking my son to go and bring my slippers. Though he's lifted this hill, at that day he could not even lift one slipper at a time without walking in a very crooked and distorted manner. So in this way, so much beauty is there in Sri Govardhan Leela. So much also Upakyan is there in Govardhan Leela. Indra Dev, he approached Surabi, and Surabi came with Indra at that time. They bathed, Krishna did the Abhishek under the influence of Sachi and Aditi and other demigoddesses. Indra also came forward because he was a little afraid to come forward. But they encouraged him, you should go with Surabi and you should do the Abhishek. And they gave so many gifts and everything. And they named Krishna Govinda. Go for the cows, go for gopas, gopis. And of course, go for Govardhana, who expands the bliss of all of those that I've named previously. So in this way, Indra's pride was curbed. And in this way, all the different demigods, like Varuna, he'll come next because he kidnaps Nanda Maharaj, all will get a chance to see the beautiful, charming Leela of Sri Krishna. And their previous Aishwarya Mayi absorption is temporarily broken just by seeing the beauty of this Leela. Therefore, the Devatas, when they heard that this same Sri Krishna, he was going to come again as Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, they all ran and took shelter of Devapali and the Singapali, where they could go and they could sit and do bhajan, right? And meditate on the chants in serving Gaura to taste something of the sweetness of the charm of this Braja Leela. Understand? So this is somewhat of the glories of Sri Giriraj Govardhan. I'm sorry I went a little bit over. Please forgive me for that. My Dandavat Pranam to all the devotees. And on this wonderful Diwali's also just passed. I'm sure that others have given Katha on Diwali. So the essential thing of Diwali, Gurudev has said, not just only Ramachandra's return to Ayodhya or Bali Maharaj's worship of Vaman Dev, because there's so many reasons why Diwali took place. But the main thing is that Diwali means the expansion of light. And when light expands, it dissipates darkness. So we let's pray on this Diwali day and on this Anukut Govardhan Puja that all the darkness surrounding us in any way can be removed and we can become absorbed in the sweetness of Sri Brajadam and take shelter of Sri Giriraj Govardhan. Shri Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. Jai Dhanavad Pranam to all the devotees. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Shindavevacha Patitanam Pavanavyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Radhe Radhe.